here. Good evening and welcome to the Line of Scrimmage, DFS cash game show, and some GPP and some DFS ownership. And I'm here with the scholar, John Laub, and myself, the old man of fantasy. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. I just finished watching an incredible game. Coastal Carolina. They gave up the lead with 1:29 left, and they scored the game-winning touchdown against Troy. So it's been a nice day. People were complaining that the slate wasn't full for college football because of so many cancellations, but I've enjoyed the football today, Emil. Been studying for tomorrow's slate. We got some news about Myles Gaskin, that Miami Dolphin backfield. Hey, DeAndre Washington's bare minimum price. That's a fascinating play right now. Something I'm going to be giving some thoughts about overnight. But, running back who's going to start at bare minimum. And for those who don't remember, last year DeAndre Washington was good with the Raiders the last 2 weeks of the year. I don't remember the number specifically, but I did play him in DFS the last 2 weeks of the season. So he's a very fascinating player. I got to look him up more. I got to think about it overnight. But DeAndre Washington should be the starter now for Miami.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And when we get to it, I'll look his last week's stats up too. Well, let's hit the first view graph here.
All right, Emil, we always like to start with our sleepers. If you're looking for value at positions, we like to give you some here. The first value position to me kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. It is Matthew Stafford. We have the highest over-under on the slate. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to score points. The Lions are at home, and Stafford is an underdog in this game. All of that game script, projections of points scored, all tell me that Matthew Stafford is at a very good spot to smash. Now, he's listed as questionable, so I understand that. But last week he was listed as questionable with the same thumb injury, and he scored 30 points against the Bears on the road. Matthew Stafford has a 21-9 touchdown to interception ratio this year, Emil. He's been playing good when he's been on the field. Now, he missed a few games. That's okay. He's passed for over 3,200 yards. He did not go up in price after scoring 30 points on the road against the Bears. He also had 402 yards passing in that game. If you're looking for value, if you're looking to get away from the herd, I like Matthew Stafford. Emil, do we have a ownership level on Matthew Stafford here?
Yes, let me go to that real quick. Or not so quick. We'll see how long it takes me to get over there. Sorry. Stafford, huh? Oh, actually, he's at 3.3%.
That is awesome for GPP also. Because game script tells us that in the fourth quarter, Matthew Stafford might throw the ball 20 times.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely the game script, it's pretty much that they're going to be behind, that Detroit's going to be behind Green Bay. So, good point.
And if it was on the road with bad weather, it might concern me, but it's at home in a dome. I like this matchup a lot. Another, looking for sleepers here. I have not heard anyone discuss Clyde Edwards-Helaire this week. Last week, we watched him on the sidelines in that Sunday night game against Denver. I don't think he even got on the field. I know he didn't score any points. He is now under $6,000. This is his lowest price all season, Emil. In the opening game against Houston on that Thursday night, Clyde Edwards-Helaire never played in an NFL game. He was $7,000. He is now $5,900 in the most explosive offense in the NFL, and I believe everyone has forgotten about him. It's not an exceptional matchup, but it's still the Kansas City Chiefs offense with Matthew Stafford, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill on the field. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is always going to have an advantageous matchup, just simply because defenses have to allocate assets to stopping Hill and Kelce. Also, Le'Veon Bell last week, he had his opportunity here, bare minimum, and he did not play very well. 11 carries for 40 yards, only 2 receptions for 15 yards. He did not get in the end zone. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, what is his ownership, Emil, right now?
By the way, last week, he didn't have a touch and didn't have a snap or anything, but he had the flu.
Right.
So you got to remember that. But the week before in Tampa Bay, he didn't do that well. But nonetheless, his ownership is 3.8%.
3.8. Pretty low. Now, obviously, I think he's touchdown dependent here. I like him to bounce back. Obviously, at 3.8%, the fantasy community has forgotten about the best quarterback in the best running back in the most explosive offense in the NFL here. The 5,900 is a great salary compared to the rest of the season. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire here a lot against the Miami Dolphins.
And also, back in week 6, he scored 20. Then 7, he scored 13. He scored 6 against the Jets and 8. Week 9, he had 12, the bye week. And then the Raiders, he scored 20 at the Raiders. And then he didn't do well against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's a tough rush game. And then he was sick last week. So, like you said, he's got a ceiling that's pretty decent.
He does. I mean, he's had over 20 points 3 times, and he hit those 20 points when he was 6,300, 6,000, and 7,000. So right now he's under that barrier. If he hits 20 points, you got 3 times value easy in this matchup. I like him. He's a sleeper. He's very obviously the fantasy community, and I get it. There's risk there. That's why he's 5,900. It's baked in to the price. But when you're talking about under 4% ownership, I like that a ton. And my wide receiver that is not getting a lot of credit, Michael Gallup. The last 2 weeks, 19 targets against Washington and Baltimore. My friends, 19 targets against 2 solid defenses. He has 13 receptions for 127 yards and a touchdown. On DraftKings, he has scored 10.1 and 21.6 points in back-to-back weeks. And he had a much more difficult matchup than he does this week against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know the narrative out there is about Andy Dalton. Going back to Cincinnati, if Andy Dalton's going to have a big game, folks, Michael Gallup has a chance here to play very, very well in this game. If you're looking at Andy Dalton and you're looking at this passing game, if you think Andy Dalton's going to go out and score 2 or 3 touchdowns, I like this spot for Michael Gallup. Also, Amari Cooper, 6,500. CeeDee Lamb, 4,800. I'm getting Michael Gallup in a pretty nice matchup here against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I watched that game on it was Baltimore. It was Tuesday. I thought Gallup played really well. When Andy Dalton targeted him, we know he's on the field all the time. He's been on the field. He hasn't had the opportunities the other 2 players, Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, did early in the season. But he's had some big target games. I just said those two. He had 7 against Pittsburgh, 12 against Philadelphia, 9 against Seattle. So in the right matchups, and we're seeing a slow uptick. Michael Gallup has been forgotten. No Dak Prescott. Everyone likes CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. But I'll take Michael Gallup this weekend for 3,800. You don't need a lot of points to get 3 times value. And I do think Andy Dalton's going to play good here this week. What do you think, Emil? What's his ownership?
Yeah, Gallup's ownership right now is 4.7%, so just above 5. Yeah, he's come on. It's a 3-headed monster there, but I think the red-headed whatever he's called, they call him Dalton, is starting to get into the groove. You get hit as hard as he did, you're out for a few weeks, then you have the COVID, and I think he's beginning to get a little more comfortable with everything. And like you said, Gallup has had some very big highs and some lows, but there's been a lot of weird things going on, and maybe things are a little more stable. They're going to be on the road, but it is Cincinnati. It's a good position for Dallas in general, and why not Gallup? He's been hot. I can't believe what he did against Baltimore. It was 21 fantasy points at Baltimore. I was a little surprised at that.
Yeah, and the numbers were there, and Emil, he looked good in that game. It's interesting because Dallas is always on TV, right? So we get to watch a lot of Dallas. And I've been watching Gallup lately, and he's playing better. I believe he's been playing better now than he was with Dak Prescott, but that could just be there. CeeDee Lamb was so hot early in the year. Dak Prescott was so hot. But I like him here in this matchup, and if you're looking to save, 3,800 is a nice price.
And by the way, we're doing a sneaky little thing for anybody who watches this, obviously, primarily the Periscope people. You can get the rest of the season flash update for only $5, and the link is just below on YouTube in the comments, and also it's been commented on in Periscope. So look for that. It's a great value. You get all the John's article, everybody's articles, everything that we talk about, which we will talk here shortly also.
Great deal, everyone. Great deal. Emil, one question for the viewers.
Yeah.
Is that through the playoffs too, or just the regular season?
Yeah, that's through the playoffs. And usually we're doing, we have the tool, we have everything up through. I think once you get to the conference championship, it's a little boring for me, but I'm not those first few weeks of the playoffs are really some fun DFS, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with you. I love the first 2 weeks, the wild card in the conference. And remember, we got to change this year. It's going to be very interesting. There's more games, so we'll have to get our hats on and our thinking caps.
That's right. I hadn't thought through that yet.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for the next view graph?
Absolutely. Every week we do our Fantastic Four. How do you build your cash game lineup? We give you 4 players, and then you get to select the other 5. Emil, what is the ownership? My first thought, I love Justin Herbert this year in a bounce back. What does his ownership against Atlanta look like in the DFS universe?
Let's take a look here. His ownership is 4.9%.
Woo! Under 5%. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched that game against New England. Justin Herbert looked lost, but he was against Bill Belichick. Look at what happened. Jared Goff, Sean McVay, with a better coach, a better quarterback, better game plan, they were successful. Justin Herbert was just a young quarterback. He had a down day was coming, right, Emil?
You bet.
Young quarterback.
We were really getting a hell of a roll there.
Heck of a roll. No way is a young quarterback going to go through his rookie year without a bump in the road. And guess what? Bill Belichick gave him the bump in the road. I mean, look, we've seen it happen with young quarterbacks and Bill Belichick before. He's just too good of a coach, too good of a defensive mind. I believe Justin Herbert bounces back here at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Looking at the home numbers, he has averaged 25.2 points per game at home in 6 contests. And that includes last week's debacle against the Patriots. So if you take out that Patriots game, he's been even much better at home. Herbert has a lot of talent around him. And I understand the Falcons have been playing better on defense since they fired Dan Quinn. But I still believe that Herbert is too good of a player with Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler's healthy here. And no matter what, the Falcons' brain trust on the defensive side is not Bill Belichick. I like Herbert here to bounce back at home. He came down a little bit in 6,800, so I like him here. When I'm looking at the matchups, you have really 2 options in my opinion. Excuse me, everyone. You have Keenan Allen, but he's very pricey. And I felt it was unfair to give you a high-priced wide receiver after giving, and we'll talk about my running back later, but you can see it on the screen. I like Mike Williams here. Mike Williams, the last 3 weeks, Emil, has had 21 targets. He is being targeted in this passing game. He only has 11 receptions because there are air yards. They like to throw to Mike Williams deeper. He's not clearing out. He's not clearing out underneath. He's not running wild one-on-one on short routes. He goes deep downfield. We know he's a big body, physical receiver. This is a really nice matchup one-on-one down the field. Mike Williams against these smaller Atlanta Falcon running backs. Herbert takes his shots. I thought he held onto the ball too much against New England. You know, I give him credit. He has moxie. He sits in the pocket. He can avoid the pass rush, and he throws the ball down the field because he keeps his eyes. Excuse me, everyone. He keeps his eyes focused downfield. I don't think the Falcons are going to give Herbert as much pressure in the pocket as the Patriots did. Mike Williams one-on-one, I like him here. I think they take a couple deep shots. He's only 4,700. I like to have in my lineups the quarterback with the wide receiver. I'm going to save on the salary. I'm going to go Mike Williams. Oh, let me see. What is Keenan Allen is 7,700. So there's a $3,000 difference in salary. And of course Keenan Allen's going to do good. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's not going to do well. This is about salary savings, and will Mike Williams find the end zone from beyond 40 yards? I think there's a good chance here. So I'm going to put in my Fantastic Four Mike Williams and Justin Herbert. Then, I have, in the highest slate, I referred to it a little bit, Matthew Stafford. Aaron Jones is still the most explosive running back. We saw it on that amazing touchdown run against the Eagles late in the game. He wasn't having a great game until that last run. He's in, isn't it 55? I think that over-under is 55. Let me double-check. Yeah, right now we have a 55 over-under, Emil.
Wow.
The Packers are going to score points against Detroit. Detroit is not very good against opposing running backs. They are giving up over 28 points per game in the last 4 weeks. They have given up 6 rushing touchdowns, 2 touchdowns receiving to opposing running backs, and 22 receptions. Aaron Jones is in a smash spot. What's his ownership, by the way, Emil, on Aaron Jones?
He's the number 2 owned running back at 17.5%.
See, well, then I guess I'm not the only one who identified this smash spot. I haven't heard a lot, but you know what? I like our percentages because it's not reflective of the chatter that you hear in the radioverse, on Twitter, on Facebook, on ESPN. It's just what the numbers are telling us. I like Aaron Jones to smash here a lot. So I'm going to give you a high-priced running back, and I had to choose between Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, James Robinson. In my Fantastic Four, I'm going to take Aaron Jones. highest over-under against a poor rushing defense with the Hall of Fame quarterback. I'll take Aaron Jones here. I needed to save some money elsewhere also and give our viewers options. Emil, Tim Patrick is the best wide receiver in Denver right now. Courtland Sutton's been out all year. Jerry Jeudy, he has ear yards, but he doesn't catch any passes. If you take out that big game against Atlanta when we had him in our Fantastic Four, Jerry Jeudy has not been very good here. If you eliminate the debacle against New Orleans, and we all know Kendall Hilton was the quarterback. He had 2 targets in that game, Tim Patrick. So let's take that game out of it. In 3 of the last 4 games, Vegas, 4 receptions, 61 yards. Miami, 5 receptions, 119 yards. Last week against Kansas City, 4 receptions, 44 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The targets are there. Oh, I just noticed against Atlanta the week before, he had 4 receptions, 29 yards, and a touchdown. If you have not been watching Denver or paying attention to the Broncos, Tim Patrick's the best wide receiver in Denver. He's 4,200 here. In our Fantastic Four, I wanted to give everyone options that allow you to pay up for other positions. So I went lower on the wide receivers. Mike Williams and Tim Patrick, combined them with Justin Herbert and Aaron Jones. If you look up there, that costs $23,000, $300. But you now have $5,340 remaining. Defenses easily pay around $3,500 or less. Plus, you have a tight end, and you can choose to pay up or pay down. So there are a lot of options in this Fantastic Four that I gave you, and I believe that San Diego bounces back against the Falcons. What do you think, Emil?
Yeah, Tim's been, they keep talking about Jerry Jeudy, fantastic talent. He's going to be incredible. I think he's spending a little too much time right now twittering. That was a joke, by the way. They've got a lot of talent. Hamler's a good guy too. I think they're in, and of course Sutton is out for the year, and it's going to be interesting to see what they'll do next year. But Tim Patrick, he's shown it. He gets a lot of targets. I think that's a great play at 4,200.
He's actually $500 less than Jerry Jeudy right now.
Yeah.
What is his ownership? Do you know what his ownership is?
Tim Patrick is 3.7%.
Oh my God!
Just to compare it, let's see. I had it right in front of me, and Jeudy is at 1.6%.
So Tim Patrick, not only is he cash game, because our Fantastic Four is for cash game.
It's for cash, yeah.
But he's GPP viable at less than 5%.
Yeah,
that's a nice. Yes, I mean that's a really nice GPP play. If you get that low of ownership.
And Jerry Jeudy is 1.6, so that's another curious thought for GPP, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a lot of salary left. $53.40 per player.
Yeah, you can go a lot of directions. And my friends, put that into our optimizer. Put those 4 players into our optimizer on footballdiehards.com. Tell them that you want a cash game lineup, and the optimizer will give you options.
Yes. Excellent. All right, you ready for the next view graph?
Absolutely.
Bing bong. Here we go.
All right, my friends. So if you notice, we have that great deal, rest of season, $5. It'll help you with maybe win your playoff battles, get a championship, help you with your DFS lineups. And these are some of the great articles for insight and analysis into your DFS game that we have up there right now. Bob Harris, DFS, 3 and out. Gary Davenport, the shadow knows for wide receiver and cornerback matchups. Justin Linero for DFS, digging in the crates daily for if you need other value plays and those that we've talked about tonight. Scott, my Scholars DFS sheet of knowledge, it's up there right now. It has a magna cum laude and a summa cum laude lineup that I've showed you that I like to play this week. It has top shelf and value plays. It has everything you need to put together a DFS lineup. I also update it every Sunday morning. So right now it does not have DeAndre Washington on it because we published that about 11 a.m. Eastern time. I found out, middle of the afternoon, Emil, around 3 o'clock, Gaskin. So I'm going to be looking at that matchup for DeAndre Washington in the Miami backfield. I'll be doing some homework, seeing what the Miami beat reporters. So I will update the lineups on Sunday mornings. And then Kyle Dvorak has our DFS cash game and tournament breakdown articles. All of that is there for $5 rest of the season, my friends. Go get some.
Yeah, and if you can't find that link below, either on Periscope or YouTube, it's just footballdiehards.com/Laub, L-A-U-B, to make it simple. Nice four-letter word. All right, off to the next.
All right, every week I have to dig hard. Where am I going to go in order to give us the GPP contrarian stack? And Emil, I have a feeling, could you do me a favor before we even move on? What's the ownership on Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins?
All right, Tom Brady is 5.5.
Wow.
And Kirk Cousins is 3.1.
You know, I had a feeling that no one is talking about this game. We know people are going to stack Green Bay, and they're going to end up stacking the Lions. That is obvious without question, right? We know that there are going to be people stacking the Titans and the Jaguars, the Colts and the Raiders. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, why are people not discussing this Tampa Bay Minnesota game, Emil? And you just told me, looking at the numbers, this game is flying under the radar with a 52.5 over under. So I said when I'm thinking about this, if we have low ownership on the quarterbacks, well, I have to think about the running backs. And obviously, Dalvin Cook. I can't go Dalvin Cook. What's his ownership, Emil? What is Dalvin Cook's?
7.1%.
So that's not as high as I thought, but it's too high for me. Not what I want to go. So what's Ronald Jones, Emil?
5.3. Just a touch above.
I'm getting the starting running back in an over-under at home with they're a 7-point favorite. Give me Ronald Jones all day, and I'm not a Ronald Jones guy. If you've been watching our show all year, everyone knows that I invested in Leonard Fournette. He burned me in season-long leagues. But this is DFS Week 14. I don't care what happened in Week 3 anymore. I'm getting the starting running back in Tampa Bay with a favorable over-under. 6,100. Yum, yum. I'll take that all day against the Minnesota Vikings. And then I said, all right, can't go Dalvin Cook, so that leaves me with Kirk Cousins. And the first thing I said, I understand, look at Emil. On the road, Kirk Cousins has not played very well this year. And that's probably why his ownership has plummeted. What did you say it was? Less than 2%?
Yeah.
What was Kirk Cousins?
3.1%.
3.1.
Kirk Cousins.
You know why? Now, I would not use him in a cash game, but this is a GPP contrarian stack in which we have a road team in an over 50 points scored, and they're a 7-point dog. Well, what does that tell me? Kirk Cousins is going to be throwing the football a lot, folks, in the fourth quarter. I get it. Away game, 12 points per game. But that's why we get him at less than 3%. That's why it's a GPP contrarian stack. We're putting together this contrarian stack with the expectation that Kirk Cousins is going to exceed his average on the road. And that's how we beat people in a contrarian stack. In his last 3 games at home, 26, 30, 27 DraftKings points. He's been smoking hot. Jacksonville, Carolina, and Dallas. But you know why I like this spot for him? Tampa Bay is a passing game tunnel. You can't run on them. Emil, you can't run on the ball.
I know. They're tough against the run.
But they're going to leave their cornerbacks exposed in one-on-one coverage. They do it all the time. I don't expect Ronald Jones to change here. We just saw Tyreek Hill destroy them. The Rams, with their 2 wide receivers, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, destroyed Tampa Bay. Unless Todd Bowles somehow, an old coach who's had extreme success on the defensive side, is going to change overnight, I expect him to leave his corners one-on-one with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, Emil. Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw the ball here. I don't see any other way around it. In the last 4 games, here are his attempts. 36, 30, 45, 43. I don't see that changing, Emil.
I agree.
He's going to have... So I love that I'm getting Kirk Cousins at under 5% in a GPP against a tunnel defense. You have to throw the ball against Tampa Bay. And, my friends, Tampa Bay's going to blitz. They're going to get pressure on Cousins. But if they pick up that blitz, if Cousins rolls out and you're leaving Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson one-on-one, they're going to beat some people. Might not be the first quarter, but they're going to beat people by the end of the day, everyone. So I'm going to team them up with Adam Thielen. I had to go, who do I want, Jefferson or Thielen? It's a very tough decision. I'm going to save. I think there's a $400 price difference. Let me get, $400 price difference. Thielen is touchdown dependent. I'll take Thielen here. He scored 5 touchdowns in his last 3 games. So I'll take the touchdown-dependent wide receiver playing from behind in a 52 over-under game. I like Thielen and Cousins here. And, my friend, what is Thielen's ownership?
6.2%.
Woo!
I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense.
Emil, I don't think people are thinking about this game.
Evidently not.
They're looking at the other spots. The Green Bay, Detroit, Titans, and Jaguars, Colts, Raiders. They're probably thinking about, Mahomes and Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, which is always the option, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people are looking at this. And then I said, okay, I'm going to take the other touchdown-dependent wide receiver, Mike Evans. My friend. But, yes, he's touchdown-dependent. But don't fool yourself. He's being targeted. Here is his last 3 games, 9, 9, and 11. Not the greatest conversion rate. He only has 14 receptions on 29 targets. But they're throwing to him deeper down the field. They also throw to him in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
I like it here. And in his last 3 games, 20, 16, and 19.7 DraftKings points. So I'm going to go Mike Evans and Thielen. And I know this is an expensive stack. So I said to myself, where can I save some salad? I can't go Jefferson. I can't go Chris Godwin. It's Rob Gronkowski. I debated, is it Irv Smith? If he plays, there's questions there. Do I go back to Kyle Rudolph after he got the bagel last week? He didn't score. I said, I like Rob Gronkowski here. Last 2 games against the Rams and the Chiefs, He was targeted 13 times. He had 131 yards, and Emil, he didn't even get in the end zone.
Wow.
So if you're looking at, it's only 4,800. We have to save some money there. So his GPP salary's high, 30,700, but it still leaves you with a $4,825 per player. To me, it's the perfect contrarian lineup to put into our optimizer. I believe it is being overlooked. Emil gave you the ownership numbers. They're exceedingly low, my friends. High risk, high return. You want to get off of the masses. You want to take a chance here in a GPP. Plug that core 5 into our GPP, into our optimizer, and see what you get out. And Emil, what's the ownership on Gronkowski?
Gronkowski is 3.3%.
Oh, Emil. We don't have anyone in there.
By the way, Evans is 5.9%.
Emil, we don't have a player over 9%.
No. Not even close.
That's a great GPP. I mean, look at, you've got to hope. Like, I look at it this way. First half, Evans and Gronkowski score. Bucks are leading 24-7 at the half. Kirk Cousins has to throw like crazy the second half, and Ronald Jones knocks out the clock. I mean, that's the game script we're looking for. It's within the realm of outcomes.
Oh, by the way, before I forget, we'll throw this in real quick. Kevin Canston wants to know Marvin Jones or Antonio Brown in a standard league.
Oh, I'm going Marvin Jones. There's not a lot of upside. Let me see. I can look up. Antonio Brown is just like a floor player now. I'm going with Marvin Jones. I actually like Marvin Jones. He's a 50. We've talked about it. The over-under in that game is 55. I like Stafford in that game. I like Marvin Jones a lot here. And let's see. Antonio Brown. 7 receptions for 69 yards. 8 receptions, 57 yards. 2 receptions for 11 yards. I just don't see there being a large ceiling. I'm going to go with Marvin Jones in this matchup.
Sounds good. I apologize for interrupting. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss that.
No, it's all good.
All right.
So what do you think? You like that lineup?
I do like this lineup. I can't wait to throw this one in as a little contrarian. I love this. It's a good lineup. It's so funny with Adam Thielen, with Jefferson, who's just such a great talent, but Thielen's the guy who's standing in the end zone. So,
there's a chance.
Oh, sure.
That Cousins throws 2 touchdowns to Thielen in the second half. I mean, it's possible, and that's how you win GPPs. You get the second half when Cousins got to throw all day. I like this one a lot. My friends, it's only $5. $5. Go get it, right? Doesn't the optimizer come with this also, Emil?
Yeah, it sure does, yeah. And if you can't see the link, just football diehards / Laub, Laub, and it's a it's a crazy price. But it's getting late in the season, and like you said, it's everything on the site. And, of course, you also have, we're going to go into, the playoffs. So you're going to not just get the last 3 or 4 weeks, but you're going to get those wild card games and whatnot for DFS.
It's a great value. Great value.
Fantastic. I'm excited about this. I can't believe tomorrow's Sunday.
Week 14, Emil.
I'll start getting my lineups in tomorrow. I've been busy with my my grandkid over here working, getting her ready for her finals in the. She's in 10th grade, and doing a bunch of homework. And like I told you, she's. We were working history, and she's. So it's been fun. I've learned a lot about various things, including the French Revolution, which was a very scary time frame back in whenever it was, 1700s, I guess, early 1800s.
It's funny, Emil, because I took French for 5 years, middle school, high school, and I had a graduate course on the French Revolution.
Oh my, graduate course.
Yeah, we were reading like European historians, their textbooks. Oh, let me tell you, talk about dry, but that's a different story for a different day. But these are like I was reading books on the French Revolution written by European historians in the late 19th, early 20th century. Oh my God, talk about dry.
That would actually be interesting to me for a little while anyway. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I like the primary. You see, so now as I'm older, I would have preferred that my professor gave us more primary sources. But it was definitely, and I've been to Paris, I've been to Versailles, very interesting place. And I'm not a fan of the king, trust me. But I'm glad I was able to visit Versailles. So that was very interesting to see, having studied it for so much. Just the history of Paris is fascinating. Especially when you go, to me, I'm a history teacher, if the viewers don't know. But yeah, so I know a lot about that. What?
I thought you were a math teacher.
I like math, but I'm not a math teacher.
By the way, what was the name of that prison again? Starts with a B? Bastille. See, I would want to go and visit Bastille, but they tore it down. All those people, when they raided it, they tore every brick down of that thing. And then they sold them. Yeah. The bricks.
Yeah. That's one of the downsides of revolution. You tear down everything, right?
Boy, they were so mad. Anyway, we're getting off the beaten path. So, great. You have any other inputs you want to bring in before we let everybody go and start their lineups?
I'll tell you one thing that you might want to tell your granddaughter. Marie Antoinette, they don't have any actual history of her saying, let them eat cake. What happened is revolutionaries in Paris printed pamphlets and newspapers and promoted the myth of let them eat cake. So it's kind of like it's become such a popular historical myth that people just believe it is absolutely true, but there's no actual record of her actually saying it. It was propagandists in the revolution who promoted the idea, and it's just become part of the lexicon of history.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were watching was a video. They specifically said that wasn't ever true. And it doesn't surprise me because when you got to know that paper guy, the press guy, I forget, it's Barat or something like that. That guy was nuts. That guy would say anything. He was just trying to kill people. I can't believe how nuts that guy was. So I'm not surprised he made that up or possibly made that up. Because
when
poor
I
gal.
went to one French, I went to a French museum. They actually had the pamphlets with like the political cartoons with Marie Antoinette saying it in French, right? So there's a lot of myth. Yeah, it doesn't look like she ever said it. But great.
What a crazy time.
Revolution is interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm stunned. I want to go back and watch the whole film again with my wife. It's like an hour and a half video, but I'm sure there's a bunch of them. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, John. This is great knowledge for everybody. And good luck, everybody, and good luck yourself. I'm going to put some lineups in the morning, and we'll see how it goes this week.
Excellent. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy.